What is going on, everybody? Non here, and it's time for this week's distribution update. So there's a lot of interesting shit going on, and I'm gonna hit that one when we get to Pokemon. So let's get started here. So look at this: Bo Jackson Battle Arena recently added. For those of you who don't know, the last set was a Griffey Jr. set. The set before was Alpha Update, and then going all the way back to, I think it was July of 2025 or earlier, was the Alpha set. This is actually sold very well because it's a nice crossover between a TCG, which I have no idea how to play. Again, I don't know how to play most of them, and on-card autographs, which is absolutely badass. So just kind of putting this one out here. Let's go to the rest of these, and we'll blow through here. Dragon Ball Fusion World, FB09 just came out, and it's absolutely on fire. FB11 looks like this is interesting. A little bit of a different layout here. It's on fire. The interest continues to be sky high, especially because the cards are badass looking. They really are. And things just continue to roll forward with Bandai games. Final Fantasy Dreamlike Oceans is the 15th anniversary set, releases this coming Friday, the same time as Perfect Order. It looks like it's going to be interesting. Again, I've mentioned this before. The price has gone up to like $56.50-ish, depending. 2 sets ago, Gunslinger in the Abyss was in the mid to high 30s. The box configuration is exactly the same. It's 18 packs. So the price has gone through the roof. It's going to be interesting to see how it performs just based on that. Moving on to Flesh and Blood. Rudy had a dump Flesh and Blood sale tonight. He will never admit it, but I'm guessing his patience is thinned probably quicker than mine. I'm just a little bit more vocal about it. So moving on, Godzilla card game. So the 4 set orders out. We have this cool thing. This is these are sleeves and promos, so it's a little bit of a weird skew. I ordered a couple because the sleeves look really badass. The promos, it's going to be what it's going to be. But quite honestly, I actually had this conversation this week with somebody in Discord, where if Godzilla continues, these early sets are going to be super underprinted, and they're going to be valuable. If the game doesn't continue at some point, they're going to be really, really cool collector's items because the IP is so big. People that like Godzilla, they're pretty rabid, so it's kind of cool. Moving on to Gundam. Not a whole lot of update here. We did have the orders just closed for ST11 through 14. Let's see. I was just going to go to One Piece for a second. I was just One Piece OP16 opened up for a brief window on Bandai Plus. If you missed the initial, it is open now. I think it's only open for a couple days, so make sure you hit that if you want to do pre-release. But Gundam, really not a whole heck of a lot here. We don't have pre-release on GDO4, which is something Aria, whatever, for another month. So really nothing to see there. Moving on, Lorcana, still kind of a dumpster fire. My Little Pony. I did hear rumblings that the My Little Pony TCG cards have started to land in the port of Los Angeles. Obviously, they come from the West Coast because they're coming from China. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. Unrelated, the Naruto TCG, which is a European exclusive. It's made by some company in Italy. I can't think of the name. That came out last week. I'm going to try to see if I can get some, see how it does. I don't know much about it. I don't know. I mean, obviously, the game producer is based in the EU. But if you're going to roll a game out, you probably roll it into the most dynamic and the largest market in the world, unless you're not able to do so, especially with, IP like Naruto is big in the United States. So we'll see what happens with that. But I just wanted to mention that because that is not available through U.S. distribution. It is available to ship from eBay from the EU to the U.S. Moving on, One Piece, as I mentioned with OP16. That is available to register for pre-release. OP17 Obviously, these orders are come and gone. OP17, this is the 4th anniversary set. The reason why it's in August as opposed to October, November, because OP13 was the 3rd anniversary set, is because they're going to do a simultaneous release with Japan for the first time, which is kind of interesting. Moving on, Riftbound. For those of you who didn't see, and I believe this is for Unleashed, there is a new, I think it's called Ultimate Rare, super chase card in the set. Google it if you're interested. It looks absolutely phenomenal. It just adds more chase to the cards and to the game, which I think is super cool. Did start to get some numbers for Unleashed this week. It looks like the supply of booster boxes is about the same as what Spirit Forge was. No talk of waves yet. So that is certainly interesting. The Unleashed Vault has a super tight print run. It looks like it's less than 10% of the booster box run. It's actually closer to 5%. So it's going to be interesting as we get through the rest of the allocations across distribution, if it's this tight everywhere. But I would certainly keep an eye on that product because it almost seems like it's artificially underprinted, similar to what Proving Grounds were when it came out with Origins. So just worth putting eyes on that one for now. But yeah, definitely check out the new Ultimate Rare or whatever the hell it's called. It looked beautiful. Sorcery, not really much going on here. I did notice that Southern added Gothic booster boxes back as pre-order. So I assume at some point, I wonder if they have a pre-order date on here. I wonder if this is coming for a second wave. They're due for a second wave. And, quite honestly, the video I did last night, I gave these guys little props. They stopped dumping product into the US market. And all of a sudden, the Gothic boxes are 130 or 175. It is a collector and an investor game. And if you do what Flesh and Blood did and you burn all those folks, your game is going to die, and it's going to die relatively quickly. Now, obviously, Flesh and Blood has a rabid player base. Not anywhere I live. And the demand in the US has really fallen off cliff because the last 2 sets have been subpar. And if the players don't want to buy the product sealed and the single sellers can't buy the product sealed to make any money off of it, you don't have a supply chain. So the game dies. The end. So moving on. Union Arena. Oh my God. Solo Leveling came out. I think it came out this week or it's coming out next week. I forget what the official release date is. Obviously, pre-release a week earlier. Absolutely insane. The boxes are like $200, and there's serialized cards in there. It seems like Bandai is doing the right thing here. Now, it's going to be interesting to see if there's any follow-through. Obviously, between Dragon Ball Fusion World. I don't know anything about Dragon Ball Super. Just really Fusion World is the one I paid attention to because it's just confusing. And Union Arena, the changes that they made have seemed to really put a floor under pricing, which now all of a sudden, since people don't lose their ass and there's money to be made, it has everybody's attention. So for any of you indie game designers out there, if you don't have value in the cards, people will shit all over your game. Case in point, Cyberpunk. They continue to say it's the most, they've raised the most money in the history of Kickstarter, TCGs, and this and that, and they have. And it's been a fantastic success. But you don't want to know how many booster boxes they sold for $10 million. It's going to be 15, probably closer to 20 till it's over. There's going to be so goddamn much of that product, you're going to want to burn it for heat. It's going to make Altered look like a rare product. So that's not necessarily a good thing. Now, look, they have deep pockets. They have a lot of money, but so does Disney. So does Ravensburger. So does Asmodee with Star Wars. And that doesn't necessarily translate into success. So moving on, Yu-Gi-Oh! I normally don't talk about Yu-Gi-Oh!, but I do want to mention that the Rarity Collection, I believe, is the first one that comes out that has the old arts. The only reason I know somebody asked me if I can get it, of course I can get it. I don't really pay a whole lot of attention to Yu-Gi-Oh!, but it's going to be interesting to see if there's a little bit more support to the pricing here as this comes out. And the distro pricing on these are like $80 or $90. It's absolutely insane. MSRP is close to $150 for a game that's been bleeding to death for a while. So it's hopefully things work out. People are interested, and the bottom doesn't fall out of this, because I think we're all happier if the games are healthier. Nobody wants to buy a product and lose their ass on it, whether you're a store, whether you're a player, or the game designer. It's a shitty outcome. So, all right, moving on to Weiss Schwarz. I know we have this Fantasia Bunko set coming out. Rudy's talked about it like 5 times. I have no idea what it is. I've done some research on it. It looks like garbage, quite honestly. I hope it does well. I don't have any interest in it. We do have a Nikki reprint coming, and Nikki is now $75 a box. And the supply is plummeting. Azure Lane 2 is still sitting at $60 a box, but one seller on TCG Player has the bulk of the inventory. The rest of the inventory is probably sitting in my warehouse, and I'm not going to sell it anytime soon because the market doesn't need my inventory supply. Eminent Shadows coming out. Nazarick 3 is coming out. A bunch of IPs I don't know. A couple folks have said this is interesting here. Blue Archive. I don't really care about that either. So until we get to the Q3, Q4 releases where we have Nikki Volume 2, it's really not worth paying a whole lot of attention to Weiss. Okay, let's get to the fun ones. I think I covered everything. So first of all, let's go to Magic the Gathering. So again, as everybody saw, or everybody has seen, Lord of the Rings reprint is here. It's gone. Magazine Exchange has a few. I think they're limiting to 10 per week. I am shocked that that number hasn't gone down, which just goes to show what little percentage of total product they allocated initially at the 100. I think they allocated it like 160. So higher than everybody else. Other than that, I think Universal had some in one warehouse, but their website tends to lag reality by a couple days. I just think they're overwhelmed with everything going on. So I, as far as I can tell, Lord of the Rings is gone. The pricing of that kissed 180 for 3 seconds. It's back up at 220. And if this is the last reprint, the sell-through is absolutely astronomical. They're going to be at $250, $300, probably by the end of next week, the week after, because they're selling 50, 60 copies a day. And people know that they're just going to sit. They're going to grab them. They're going to sit on them, wait for them to age, and wait for the Hobbit to come out when there's going to be a lot of interest. So that being said, Turtles continues to do reasonably well. Pizza bundles are coming out this Friday. I know that for sure because we've had some confirmed shipments, I believe, or certainly invoices that we've paid already. Everything else with Turtles is holding up relatively well. There's still a couple folks undercutting on play boosters. The sell-through isn't huge, but it's okay. The Commander decks are doing well. The collector boosters are doing well. They're up to 225 or 425. So moving to Strixhaven, hoping to get, at least one allocation this week to kind of close the loop on how much we're getting here. Maybe we can get the last 3. That would be nice to see what this looks like. Marvel, kind of just sitting here waiting to see what happens. But reprint wise, it looks like, again, this is my best estimate because we know that Wilds and Lord of the Rings set and Ixalan set are on the schedule. They were initially scheduled for Q1. I'm guessing they pushed them to April. And the reason for that being, I'm guessing they have their Q1 basically done in the bag. So there's no reason to annihilate the numbers and push that product out. Still waiting for Karlov, Commander reprints. And then, as I think I mentioned last week, Fallout and Wilds Commander hit Europe this week, I believe. Now, again, that is all printed in Belgium. I believe on the Commander decks. I'll have to confirm, But if they're printing them in Europe, you can bet they're going to print them here as well, because it is all one big happy family of pushing product out to market. Other than that, Final Fantasy plays moved up. Bloomborough plays drying up. Foundations is kind of in the still going down a little bit from the trough because there's been a bunch of product coming to market. Duskmorn sold out everywhere. OTJ sold out everywhere outside of, I think, Magazine Exchange is limiting, and a couple of distributors are limiting to a couple boxes a week per account, which doesn't really matter. So really the only readily available play boxes right now, it is Karlov, and then you have your Spider-Man and your Avatar, and that is it. It's there's really not that much out there. It'll be interesting to see when the dust settles here with Foundations if there's any left, but I quite honestly think it's all gone out. So other than that, let's talk Pokemon. So I heard rumblings this week that there is a reprint coming for Prismatic Evolutions Elite Trainer boxes. Now, I was kind of under the impression it was coming late Q2, but if we look here on the GameStop website, this came out, I believe, today. They are taking pre-orders. Now they're only taking pre-orders in person. They haven't opened them up on the website yet for an April 17th, 2026 release day. I guess they're going to have a tax day party for Prismatic Evolutions ETBs. So it does look like we are going to get another wave of ETBs. Again, based on what folks have told me out of the factory and what the GameStop website seems to corroborate here. If you don't trust GameStop or don't believe GameStop, that's on you. I just report the news. So other than that, Perfect Order comes out this week. Looks like the demand's pretty soft, as expected, which is kind of interesting. I think everybody expects the price to go much lower than what it's going to in reality, because quite honestly, nobody who has the product is going to sell it as low as it would take for some folks to buy it. But that's fine. It is what it is. And it's funny. I've already heard people talk about Chaos Rising being worse than Perfect Order. And, I wouldn't even pay, $140 a box for it. It's the same shit every single set. Every set comes out, everybody's like, it's mid, or it sucks, or it's garbage. And then they buy it anyway. So whatever. We did get the first partner collections. These things sold like crazy. I'm afraid to see where they're trading right now. Poster collection sold out fast. Pin collection sold out fast. So all the Ascended Hero stuff is zooming. We get the EX boxes and the booster bundles coming out on the 24th. So about a month away there. And then we have Chaos Rising. For those of you who have distributors where you have to place orders, make sure you place the orders on time. It does look like there's somewhere in the neighborhood of about an eighth more supply, called 12.5%. Yes, I'm showing my age, reading the stock ticker before they went to decimal places. It was a long time ago. So it looks like there is going to be some more product. Hoping to get some allocations this week. Do not have any yet, although distributors do have their purchase orders. They know what they're getting. So it is encouraging to see a little bit of additional supply come here. And then we have these other two products. So Zygarde EX Premium Collection, this has been up here for a while. The order window closed 3 weeks ago. Looks like this is going to be potentially Perfect Order. And I can't tell. It's probably not Prismatic, Phantasmal Flames. But we have these two cool tins. So if you haven't seen these, it looks like, what is that? Clefable. I don't even know how you say it. Looks like it's going to be 4 packs in here. My guess is, given the fact that this is a June release, it is either going to be Perfect Order and Phantasmal, or it's going to be Chaos Rising and Perfect Order. We don't know. We're not going to know for a while. But this is cool, too. We have these little Lumiose City mini tins, and the art all connects. And if you look in the back here, this is the art. You could stack the tins up. It's really, really cool. It is a really, really cool concept. 10 mini tins, 2 packs per. All bets are off what's going to be in here. My guess is it's probably going to be Chaos Rising Perfect Order or Perfect Order Phantasmal Flames. But that's what we have right now. We should be getting the dark set. I forget what the name is. Coming out or being spoiled in Japan here in the next week or two. I think it's actually this week. Abyssai, if I recall correctly. So it'll be interesting to see what's in the set, how big the set is, because that would presumably be the September set. And then I assume we're not going to have a summer set. The summer set's going to translate into the 30th anniversary set, which again, none of this is confirmed. I'm just kind of reading the tea leaves as we go. But yeah, I mean, we're going to have 3 small main sets in a row, which is super, super interesting going into the summer. And again, based on the GameStop website taking pre-orders and what I've heard out of the factory, it does look like there is an ETB reprint coming. So all of the folks on YouTube can complain when their stores get 2 cases and what's going on. But I mean, quite honestly, we need it. And if they don't do it soon, the prismatic ETB prices are just going to be too high and it's going to be an issue. So anyway, guys, like the video, subscribe to the channel, join the Discord, and have a good Sunday night.